All right, everybody. Episode 204 of the Followtonians coming at you. Eric here in Overland Park, Kansas. Ped in Old Swan, Liverpool. 2 weeks in a row, Ped.
2 weeks in a row, Eric. What's going what's going on in your life that you can do 2 shows in 2 weeks?
I have just made a commitment to ignore my family and do a podcast instead. So everybody, all five of you that listened to last week's, thank you.
Fair play. Fair play.
I've this is something that I get a lot of enjoyment out of, and life circumstances sometimes take priority over other things, and it's just about refocusing upon what
What is the most important thing? And I'm afraid,
Exactly.
I'm afraid, my darling, that it's this podcast. I'm afraid it trumps you and us, my child.
Sorry, but to talk to my friend over in England at the wee hours of the morning for him to talk about Everton, regardless of the outcomes of the matches, it's fun.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough, Eric.
Anything going on with Everton lately?
Yeah.
We had a. At one point, I wished that the match was the second leg of the League Cup semifinal, because if we could do that again in a couple of weeks, that would be okay.
Well, that's like what? How many games we had this week? 2? Yeah, 2. I'm losing track.
Yeah.
To be honest, I thought Everton were actually more in the business of trying to sell boxing films than playing football matches at the moment, but.
Well, Sylvester Stallone did get an Oscar nomination. So.
What's that got to do with Everton?
Creed. He's an Everton fan. The boxing film. So maybe it was Everton's effort that helped him get the Oscar nomination. Maybe someone on the Academy is an Everton fan. I don't know.
I don't know.
You want to talk about anything today?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you. You're too busy talking about boxing films.
You bring it up. I'm trying to segue into the match and pull it back to Everton, and
no idea what you're talking about.
You don't. You don't ever do.
Anyway.
0-0 draw. Yippee.
After traversing through the cup.
Yep, FA Cup.
Get
Good stuff there. Survive in advance.
Eric didn't see that game.
It was impossible. Nobody saw that game, Ped.
No, I know.
You didn't even see that game, or wished you didn't see that game.
I think I did see that game. I think I was at that game. I think I was one of the person.
You and the guy. Was this the match where the guy behind you was on a date trying to impress his lady?
Yeah. That was the best thing about the entire game. Starting every song and swearing really loudly to make him seem like he was a real man.
Was he a hard guy? Was he tough guy?
No, I don't think he was, to be honest. That's a different story. I like to think I kept a lot of people informed who weren't at this game, because apparently you couldn't get the game live in America or most places outside, well, anywhere really, and
I couldn't even listen to it on the radio.
You couldn't get any commentary, which was baffling by the football club that the website would be down. So and then obviously there was a false shout of a goal for Dagenham and Redbridge, which sealed to send a lot of people into panic. It was funny watching it unfold on Twitter. People getting very, very animated about certain things, about who was to blame. Who are you going to blame this time? Eh?
Nobody, because they didn't score.
They never ever come close to scoring, and that was it really.
Well, we scored. Talk about that.
Yeah, we scored 2 goals.
Woohoo! 2 goals.
Aruna Coney scored 1, and Kevin Morris scored with a penalty, and that was it. That was about as fun as that game got. But we got our way through to the 4th round, and that's all that really matters, isn't it?
Yeah, survive in advance. It's early rounds. You try to avoid the banana skins. You do what you're supposed to do. You don't want to drop out of the FA Cup in the early rounds to very, very much lower competition.
Any competition, you just want to get through, don't you? You want to get, like we've seen in the League Cup, you just want to get through.
You never know what's going to happen. You keep winning your game.
Especially at this stage of the season as well, where there's a lot of games. They come thick and fast, and you don't even want replays because next week we play Saturday and then we don't play again until the following Sunday. So in those terms, you've got effectively a week off, which is something that we haven't had for weeks and weeks and weeks after all the games over Christmas and and obviously the New Year. It's really good that we've got what is effectively a free week in terms of 7 days without a game. So
yeah. So Roberto take the squad down to like the UAE or something like that, or
I don't think he'll do that. I think he'll just rest some of them up and get some of them. Give a chance to some of them to have a few days off, but he might. You never know. He might take them somewhere warm. I don't really think he will, but he could do. If he wants to,
or something like that, or
yeah. Well, I mean, he's done that in the last couple of years because we've had breaks, but it wouldn't be something I would expect. But it's a week off. That's the main thing, and before the challenge of the next couple of games, including that semi-final in the Capital One Cup.
Yeah. So 4th round draw. We are at the winner of what match?
Yeovil or Carlisle.
Which, if I am not mistaken, Carlisle's grounds was under about 8 foot of water.
Something quite close to that.
At one point, not too recently.
Yeah, which I don't know the situation. A Carlisle fan told me that they have just had turf relaid and could possibly, if they were to win the replay, could possibly have it available for the replay. But we'll wait and see on that because it's not, if a ground is like that much underwater, it's not just going to be the pitch that it's affected. It's going to be all kinds of things, electrics and the stadium as a whole and just general facilities. So you can imagine that, yes, they'd want to play it there at home if it was a Premier League opposition, but at the same time, the FA and Everton might have something to say about that as well, to make sure there's a safety concern with a lot, with it probably being a sellout and stuff. So we'll wait and see on that one. I mean, if it would be at Blackpool, which probably would suit us massively because we probably get a lot of fans up there and those facilities would probably suit us, although I'm not really sure about what Blackpool's pitch is like at the moment, considering they're sort of on their arses financially as well. So just wait and see. It might just be Yeovil, mightn't it? And then we just might have to go to the back arse of nowhere to play it.
I was going to say, so Carlisle is a little bit north of Liverpool, near Blackpool.
Well, it's like practically Scotland.
Okay.
So yeah, basically it's basically just under Scotland. So
and where is Yeovil?
It's Somerset, which is
where is Somerset?
It's south, south, very south.
South of Scotland. Got it.
It's heading towards, yeah, like Carlisle is by Scotland and Yeovil is by France. That's
good. We're squared away.
It's closer to France. It's closer to France than it is to Liverpool. Put it that way. It's closer to France. There's about 30 miles of water and about probably another 30 mile drive from Yeovil to Weymouth. So yeah, it's south. yeah, yeah,
South. So,
south.
Pet, I take it you're saying it's south.
It's in the southerly area of the
Southern
English
regions
country.
of England.
Yeah, it's south.
Nice. Near
Probably
Downton
direct.
Abbey?
It's probably actually directly south underneath Liverpool. It's like
Okay.
if you put a straight line from Liverpool to down, you'd probably hit Yeovil or be very close.
Where is it in relation to Downton Abbey?
I have no idea. I don't know what Downton Abbey is. I've never watched it. I don't watch crap like that. Imperial crap. Um, it's actually in between Exeter and Bournemouth. So
I know about Exeter.
yeah,
I've heard that.
yeah. It's not a million
Hopefully
miles.
they advance, right?
It's not a million. Yeah, it's not a million miles away from Southampton or Porto. But as I say, it's closer to France than it is to Liverpool, and Carlisle is closer to Scotland than it is to Liverpool. So it's practically a European game if whichever one we get.
We love European away matches. They're a lot of fun.
There you go. Just that's it.
I-
No issues.
Sounds good. There'll be lots and lots of Evertonians traveling to either one, I'm sure.
We'll wait and see on that. I'm not necessarily sure that's true because of how small those places are, but I'm sure we'll try our best.
I would guess that we will outnumber the home fans at both grounds.
Well, it doesn't really work like that, Eric. It's because it's all tickets, isn't it? You can't just get the tickets like that. In an ideal world, we would, but with someone,
That's lame.
yeah. Come on, Eric. You've been watching football enough in this country long enough. You know how it works.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's like these like segregated fans, and
Yeah,
you can't sit next to somebody that cheers for the other team because that would be just wrong
and
to have to.
a rich guy can't just go, "I want a ticket" and throw money on it like you can in America.
Yeah, like the Marlins man who sits behind the home plate of every baseball game.
No idea what you're talking about.
You don't, and that's all right.
Yeah. Let's move on.
So, survive and advance. We're into the fourth round. Who knows where and who we play? Yippee! But at least we're not out of the cup like half of the teams that played in the round before us. Man City travel up to the Etihad.
Yeah.
And Tim Howard back into the net.
Yeah. Some people travelled. Some people got there. Some people didn't. It was like people getting in at half time and like 35 minutes and ridiculous stuff like that.
Is it not just like 35 miles away?
It's like not far at all, but the traffic in Manchester was so bad that home and away fans couldn't get in there, so people really struggled. It is literally.
Should have rode the train.
It is literally 30 miles away from Liverpool. So
is there not a train that goes there?
There is, but it's getting back. It's a night game. Getting back to Liverpool from Manchester is not easy when there's a lot of yous, and the traditional thing to do is just to drive.
Hire a cab, right, Ped?
But how can you hire a cab if the traffic's not moving, Eric?
On the way back.
Have you not seen
on
the basis?
The way back, Ped. Take the train there, come back in a cab.
Well, why would you take a cab when you could take your own car, though?
Because you can't get there in your own car because of traffic.
But you can, Eric. It's just that they made a pig's ear of the traffic.
You don't understand me at all, Ped.
I don't understand you because you're an American and therefore
I can drive and get to where I need to go without having to worry about traffic.
Shut up, Eric. Let's talk about the game. I feel like we're talking about issues non-related to football. It's more to do with traffic and the locations of grounds rather than actual football matches. You mentioned something about American goalkeeper there. Continue with that theme if you wish.
Okay, so it's just Jedi mind trick me there.
Yes,
nice,
I did.
Awesome. You shall now talk about Tim Howard. I will talk about Tim Howard because
hours.
So Tim Howard had a good game. did you Kylo Ren like your room there because it's a mess, and just throw a fit and say, "I can't believe he did well"?
No, you know.
Or were you happy? Were you happy, Ped?
I'm happy because I'm happy.
Are you not entertained, Ped?
I'm happy because Everton have
A
done
clean
well.
sheet.
I've done well in a football match and have defended and for once the goalkeeper helped in that situation and
Was 3 inches from Osman turning into Ibrahimovic?
that was a volley and a half, wasn't it?
Oh, I mean, great pass by Lukaku, who I couldn't tell the guy that was trying to mark Osman there, but he got spun around like a dreidel, and and almost like drilled himself into the ground like the Tasmanian devil. But I mean, Osman just absolutely ripped that thing, and if that goes in, it's it just pandemonium. It should be talked about as.
I'm not really sure there was any of our fans in the ground when that was hit actually, so I don't know whether there would have been pandemonium. But it didn't. It didn't go in. It was a great chance. Well, it's great volley, but it didn't go in. So yeah. So it was. Listen, we played well, and any criticism that has been dished out in the last weeks and months about the way we defend or the way we or the way Tim Howard played, they've deserved, and that's people have got to remember that. People coming out and saying, I've seen people saying sort of having a go at the people who've had to go with Tim Howard. Well, he had one good game, and I'm happy that he had one good game because he was playing. And while he's playing, I want him to have good games. Otherwise, Everton will lose, which has happened previous this season. So I'm glad he had a good game because I've said this a million times. It's not about him. It's about the team. I want the team to do well. I want the players in the team to do well. If I feel like there's better players for positions, then I will flag them. But the defence played really well. Again, a lot of criticism before the game that I saw about Leon Osman playing on the left. But I was quite happy considering that the players we had, because what it meant was that we were lining up in a way that I've been calling for in the last few weeks to be a lot more solid. And that's what we did. We went there and we were a lot more solid. And in the first half, we matched City. You come off a half time, we've had just as many shots as them, just as much possession as them, just as many corners as them. It was only really in the second half where they started turning the screw, and
where they made a substitution or two.
Well, yeah, because you looked at the team we had out, and you've got Phil Jagielka playing, who really is only about 70%, 80% fit. You've got John Stones playing at right back. He gets a knock, so he's struggling a little bit. You've got Osman on the left, who hasn't really played a full game in the Premier League this season, I don't think. So you got him on the left. You've got a few legs, like Romelu Lukaku picked up a knock last week. He probably wasn't 100% fit either, which showed in the second half. If you've got that many sort of little knocks and injuries, and the squad isn't, it's big squad, but quality wise, it's not sort of fantastic.
It's not a deep squad.
So then second half, we just had to tighten up, batten down the hatches, and get on with it, and we did that. And what Tim Howard did in this game was really, he didn't make any sort of like world class saves. His save in the first half was a good save. It wasn't an absolutely fantastic save, it was a good save. But what he did second half, and it reminded me very much of the Belgium game for the United States, was he just made continual saves. So save after save after save. He made
kind of did his job.
Yeah, he did. He saved like 4 or 5 in a row. But not only was he saving them, and again, this is where I'll give him credit. There was a couple where he was getting a real good contact on them and pushing them well away from goal. And I think what that did in the game was, one of the big things has been for Tim Howard, I think, this season is a lot of teams have picked up on the weaknesses of him, like coming for crosses, coming off his line, hesitation. And I think they've played into that. And I think once he started making a few saves, that made the City players a little bit more reluctant. and they almost felt like it had to be perfect. So they weren't just having a shot from anywhere, or they weren't just like throwing in crosses. They were trying to work it and work it and work it. And because we had effectively 3 centre halves playing at the back, because we had Besic Industrial again running around like an absolute lunatic,
Yeah,
because we had
definitely bring
Gareth
him up.
Barry,
Yeah, I was going to bring
because we
Besic
had,
up and let you talk about him for a while.
well, and because Ozzy was in there as well, who's very clever, knows his
Yep.
job, and because we had all those players, we really did get a lot of men behind the ball. And as I say, you go to somewhere like Man City. See, we could have gone there and we could have easily scored a couple of goals, but I guarantee you, if we'd scored a couple, we would have conceded, 2 or 3. So.
Yeah.
But we just battened down the hatches, and it was one of those games where it was like, right, our aim tonight is not to concede and maybe grab one on the break. And if we get a draw, we get a draw. It was very much like a David Moyes performance. We were lacking in a lot of elements, and we just said, listen, this is what we're going to do.
So, Mo Besic, probably your latest favorite player. I mean, just puts in a shift. You mentioned Stones gets a knock. Whenever Stones is down, Besic takes a yellow card. Just really, really smart footballing move there to get the play stopped whenever your team is essentially down a man in a vital area of the pitch. I mean, he seems to be maturing, I guess, or coming into the English game a little bit better, or just feeling more comfortable around others, knowing what's expected of him, not trying to do too much, not trying to make a back pass in a bad spot of the pitch. It's just under control.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily feel like I don't feel like he's sort of ever been out of control in a way. I think when he joined the club last season, he made a mistake in like basically his first appearance when he came on against Chelsea. He did that silly back heel when Chelsea were already like 5-2 or 5-3 up. And yes, he made that mistake, and he sort of had to carry that. Where people were sort of like, "Oh, this guy," it's like one of those things you seen him when you went up. A lot of people like just dismissed him from that moment. And because we've seen sort of very little of him this season, it's almost like it's almost like a Chinese whisper where it's almost like, "Oh, he's rubbish him," and then that escalates, and because you don't see him, it's like, "Oh, he's not very good anyway," and it's a strange one, and I think that just went on and on and on. But for me, I just think he's a really good footballer. He's a good tackler. He knows when to tackle and when not to tackle. He's got a really good eye for a pass as well. He's not afraid to do something sort of flamboyant on the ball as well. We've seen him do his little tricks and stuff. And the incident you were mentioning there, I highlighted that as like one of the key moments of the game for me, because I've said this a lot of times about Everton's play. They're not savvy enough. They don't know how to use their brains on the football pitch. And I've mentioned this before. Like the Bournemouth game when we're 3-2 up last minute. And all really someone had to do in that game was go over and just kick somebody, take a foul, and then just defend a free kick. But we were very standoffish, allowed the ball to get into a position where it could be crossed into the box, and they obviously scored. And that was like the day that our downturn in the season started. We become very unsure of having leads, and players become very nervous, and we look defensively wide open. And what Mo Besic showed in this game was the brains to spot that we were outnumbered at the back because of that, and he just took a foul on the halfway line. And it's basic football. It's stuff you learn when you're about 9 or 10. If someone's getting away from you and you can sort of foul them you take the foul if it's in an area that's not going to really hurt you. Where, a lot of players would let that carry on for 10, 15 more yards and then foul them. And in that position, they're more likely to be booked, and also the opposition are more likely to be more threatening from the free kick. So I thought in that moment that showed something that we've really desperately been missing in the last couple of months. And as I say, he's showing that more and more in his play. He's making himself undroppable because his work rate is it's so high. It really is, and he ends up all over the pitch as well. You find him everywhere. He's always covering for somebody. His work rate is absolutely incredible.
Yep.
And it's going to take a lot to get this guy out the side.
Not a whole lot to talk about in this match, but there is one point of contention, especially if you were a home fan in this match, and that's got to be the clattering from stones in the box. Everton very, very lucky not to concede a penalty in that.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it was a stonewall penalty. It really was. It was absolutely nailed on penalty. I think what saved them was that John Stones slid into to make one of those sort of one of those tackles he likes to make, where he sort of outstretched leg and nicks it round the corner.
Right.
Unfortunately, we tried to do that against Stoke, and it cost us a penalty in the last minute. And oddly enough, he's tried it again in the last minute in the box. It's something that really he has to cut out of his game in the box, because again, when someone being savvy and being clever, anything can happen in the box, which showed against Stoke. And in this game, again, it showed. He went in for that tackle. He actually pulled out of the tackle, but because of the wetness of the pitch, his momentum took him into the player. Now, whether you believe that is a foul or not, it is a foul. It is a foul because he is. He's took the player out now. I don't know.
He's out of control.
Yeah,
and
he's out of control.
He makes contact, and it just happens to be in the box. It's a foul. It's a foul in the box. It's a penalty.
Yeah, it's a foul anywhere else on the pitch. And this is something that he's got to cut out of his game. He's a magnificent tackler. He really is. And we've seen him do it so many times. But when you do it in the box, you are just giving the referee an excuse to point to the penalty spot.
Yes.
So we got away with it. We got away with one, I think 7 days before that. In the home tie of the of obviously of the semi-final.
Right.
And I really hope it doesn't come back to haunt us in a couple of weeks' time. When we played them in the second leg.
Yeah.
Because it's going to take a big effort in that game, obviously. It really is.
But it is nice to have this match. Looking at the fixture schedule, it's like you don't really want to go there in the league in between legs. It didn't look to be I don't know, anything that would be advantageous to Everton, because you're looking at that away tie in the league, and you're just worried that City's going to win, and it's going to be easy because they do play better at home than they do away, and that could shatter some confidence going into that second leg of the semifinal. But leaving there with a 0-0 draw, it's got to be a little bit of a boost for Everton whenever they come back, knowing that they can put in that type of effort defensively, and who knows what will happen.
Yeah, most definitely. That's the standard, isn't it? They've set the standard. They've frustrated Manchester City twice now in both games. They've really frustrated them, and they've shown the blueprint. Now, obviously, we only have to get a draw in a couple of weeks' time, and I suppose it's almost like between the devil and the deep blue sea. You don't want to be caught out by attacking, but you also don't want to be caught out by just being ultra defensive, because we did ride our luck a little bit in this game. Let's be honest, we did ride our luck at times, and all it takes is a ball to be zipped across the area, and it just comes off anyone's foot and goes in. It can happen. It's football, of course it can happen. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. You know, which way we attack the leg, but you know, we've got the advantage, and it's up to Manchester City to take it off us. So
Yep.
they might take everything, throw everything at us, and that might leave the door open at the back for us to nick in and get a goal. And you know, if that happens, then you know, we've proved that we can beat them. And what Man City do is they try and bamboozle you by just pass in small areas, try and get David Silva on the ball to carve open openings, and you have to be on it for the whole game. You have to be switched on all the time. So you know, because we've seen what happened when we played them at home in the league. You know, we matched them. You know, but in that game it was 2 mistakes that cost us the points that day. So you know, it shows that it can be individual mistakes that can cost you wins. So I'm happy. You know, I'm happy that we got the points last night. I think, you know, it's one of those games that you just want to get through at times. You know, it's one of those weeks in the season. Man City at home, Man City away, Chelsea away. You know, no matter what form Chelsea are in. Sorry, we haven't beaten them at Stamford Bridge for over 20 years. 1994 was the last time, November 1994. Right. So you know, it's a tough week, and you've just gotta try and get through it. And we've got a point in the first game, and hopefully that kicks us on to go into Stamford Bridge where we can, you know, try and get the 3 points.
Yeah, let's just go straight into that match and talk about traveling down to Stamford Bridge on the weekend. So this could be. Well, it will be the first time in at least those 22 years that we've done the double over Chelsea, if not longer. Will we be able to go into Stamford Bridge and put a stamp on the match, actually come away with the 3 points? They're languishing in 14th position. They just don't look like a team that knows what they're doing. Their last match, drawing 2-2, was. I mean, it's just like they should be better than they are, but they're just not.
Yeah, they should be a lot better than what they are. But you know, as you just mentioned, they're the 4 teams, they're 4 points behind us. They've had an absolutely awful season. You know, Mourinho gets the sack, and they bring in Gus Hiddink, and there's been a slight upward curve. You know, I think they've won 2 of the last 6. I think they've only lost 1 in the last 6. But you know, they are picking up draws. 2-2 against West Brom. I think they drew 2-2 with Watford as well at home. So, right. You know, they are there. You know, they are there to be, you know, to be taken on. You know, Bournemouth beat them at home. You know, they've been beaten by like Stoke, and Liverpool went down there and beat them 3-1. You know, they've had a few. You know, Southampton beat them down there. You know, I think we should be going down there confident and a little bit. You know, as long as we keep that shape that we've shown in the last couple of games.
I thought you were going to say, as long as we keep Stephen Naismith, we'll be okay.
No, I wasn't going to say that.
Okay.
I think
chances of a Stephen Naismith hat trick in this one.
No,
probably pretty small.
I don't think it'd be anywhere near the pitch, to be honest. But as long as we go down there and you know, show a little bit more attacking wise than we did in the second half against Man City, because as I said, I thought in the first half against Man City, I thought we were played really well. I thought we had counter-attacked really well. We just couldn't get it going second half till late on, to be honest. Once we'd made a couple of subs, obviously Stephen Pienaar coming on and Kone. What those 2 players did when they came onto the pitch is, you know, regardless of how old they are, they kept hold of the ball, and they allowed us to play a little bit further up the pitch, allowing us to get Rom into the game a little bit more. And I just think on Saturday we can go there, and we've got the shape, and I think we can attack them. The last couple of years we've been unlucky against Chelsea. We, you know, couple of very narrow defeats. Yeah. In both games we played really well and had a couple of chances to win the games.
Gotta think Rom will be up for it.
Definitely, you know, and he missed a really good chance last season. I think when it was at 0-0, so he'll be really up for it. Hopefully he will be absolutely 100% fit, and I think it's a good opportunity. I don't think the fear factor's there anymore with Chelsea or certainly Stamford Bridge. A lot of players have been playing for themselves this season. There, you know, the likes of people like Hazard looks like he wants out, and listen, the problem, Chelsea are always going to have money, or certainly for the foreseeable future, going to have money. So they're never going to be a team that you can just dismiss, because they can always go and buy good players, and there's an attraction there of playing and living in London, and West London, and all those things that go with it. But I think at the moment, the fear factor's out the window, and I think we'll be really confident. I mean, I hope we're not overconfident, but as I say, I think the way we've been set up in the last couple of weeks, playing with with someone down the left, I'm really hoping Cleverley's back, because I think he offers so much down there. John Stone showed at right back the other night that although he got forward a few times and give it away a few times, he at the back he was very solid. He was stopping crosses galore, which is something that we haven't seen that much from our fullbacks this season.
Right.
He was an option. He was getting forward. He was John Stones is the classic schoolyard player, defender who, given the chance to get forward, just wants to get forward. So I think we're all right. I think defensively we're all right, and it's just a case of keeping the shape and trying to play, trying to grab a goal. So that means a big reliance on Ross Barkley, Gerard Deulofeu, and obviously Romelu Lukaku. So as I say, the fear factor's out the window. It's not one of those games where I'm thinking, oh no, it's Chelsea Stamford Bridge. You got to think about the here and now, and the here and now are Chelsea are a team of 14th. And any team that is below us in the league, we should automatically be thinking we can beat. Anyone around us, we should automatically think we can beat. We've actually played better away from home, lost fewer games away from home this season. So
right.
From that point of view as well, we're doing all right. I think we've only been beat at Arsenal, and Arsenal. That's the only defeat away from home, I think, isn't it? So,
yeah, I believe you're right.
And they sit on top of the table. And to be honest, that day we probably should have grabbed something as well in that game. So, I think it's a really good chance to win the game. I'm quite positive about this one. So, I'm just hoping we can go down and do the business.
January transfer window's open.
Yes.
Ins and outs. Little in and out. Well,
we've already signed Matty Folds, haven't we, from Bury, 16-year-old.
Yeah.
We've signed him. We have already signed. I'm trying to.
Kids from Leeds.
No, he's not.
Byron.
He's not signed. So.
He isn't.
No. When did he sign?
I don't know. There's lots of rumors out there.
When did rumors become fact, Eric Howell?
Always. I don't know. The in the know guys on Twitter all said that it's happened.
It hasn't. So,
Okay.
We signed Shani Tarajai from Grasshoppers, but he's obviously gone back, and we are close to signing Sam
Yarmolenko.
Sam Byram, who Leeds have accepted a £3 million bid, which I think would eventually get somewhere closer to $5 million. He's out of contract at the end of the season anyway. It doesn't mean he would go for free at the end of the season, because he's under 24 or 25. They would be entitled to some money because of the
development fees.
Yeah, compensation fee. So. But this is a lad who is 22, has played 143 times, can play right back, can play right wing, can play in a lot of positions. He's that kind of player. He's got a real versatility to him.
My boss at Global Scarves, who runs the factory in Leeds, is a big Leeds United fan. I just sent him a message about him, about the player, asking if he's any good, and he goes, "Leave him alone, he's ours." I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe not for long. So needless to say, or maybe needed to say, my boss Alan over there is very unhappy about the possibility of them selling this player. So I guess that would mean that we should be happy if we buy him.
Yeah, well, he's 22. He fits in perfectly with everything that Roberto Martinez trying to do with the club. You know, if you think about it, if you bring him in and he's the backup right back and he's the backup, you know, right midfielder or.
Yeah, we need some more right midfielders. That's for sure.
Well, I think he's a little bit different because he's more of a solid midfielder. He's more of a
Less of a winger.
yeah, he's a real midfielder, and I think with his age, I think you could probably find that he could play in various positions as he goes forward. I mean, I was speaking to a Leeds fan actually on the last deadline day when I actually thought we were going to buy him. Then we've been looking at this guy for a while, and he told me that he thought eventually he would become a centre back, which isn't too dissimilar to the way Phil Jagielka sort of moved into that position. You know, he was a right back, he was a right midfielder, he was a centre midfielder. He played in a lot of different positions till he finally settled at centre back. He said to me he's got all the ability to play in that position plus a lot of other positions. So that's really healthy to say. And when you think about the squad at the moment, I mean, the only other real right back sort of is
option
is Tony Hibbert, who hasn't played for months and months. So
almost
and
years, I think.
Well, yeah, and it's not likely to play again, you know, and probably will hang up his boots at the end of the season, I would imagine.
Grab his fishing rod.
You've got Mason Holgate there as well as a young lad who will, you know, can play right back, centre back as well, and maybe getting someone like this guy in will give that kid a little bit of freedom where maybe he can develop, go on loan somewhere, develop a little bit, or just give him a little bit of breathing space. But the point is that, you know, you look at the squad at the moment and we're talking about players like McGeady, Darren Gibson, Stephen Naismith.
Yep.
You know, those kind of players are looking like they're on the way out and they're about to leave the club. And you've got players like, as I just mentioned the three players there who are coming in.
Was one of them Yarmolenko?
It wasn't Yarmolenko, no, but they're all 20, they're all, you know, 20, 21, 22, 17. They're all youngsters, so it's from that point of view, it's really positive. The age of the squad is getting younger and younger all the time, and also this kid's played 143 games, so he knows what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely. Any other items, Everton-wise, we need to touch upon?
Well, you just mentioned Yarmolenko there, so, you know, I just think it's a lot of people are like, you know, there's a lot of rumours about this fella. The problem with it is, you know, we tried to get him in the summer, and I believe we actually matched his buyout clause, but the owner just wasn't having it, and then he signed a new extension. But he was given guarantees that he could leave the club if, you know, the right bid came in. But,
but they're in the final 16 of Champions League.
Exactly, and also you're hearing talk of teams like Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain after this lad as well. So you're thinking to yourself, well, hang on, why would he move to Everton, 11th place in the Premier League, whether we like that or not? Excite him to come to us.
Because Goodison is amazing.
But also excite the owner of the club, who has said on various occasions that he will only sell the player. He sees him as like the son of Kiev, and says he will only leave him, let him sign for a club that effectively is sort of makes you know, Dinamo Kiev look like a top club. So if they were to sell to like a Barcelona, then that says, look, we only sell to the best. But if you sell to Everton, that might be seen as slightly different, considering that, you know, the last time they heard of Everton was when they were, you know, smashing goals past us in the Europa League. So
right, well, he was.
I wouldn't put too much hope into that one. But you know,
think Debbie Downer.
No, but I just think, you know, stranger things have happened.
It was going to happen already.
Stranger things have happened, but I wouldn't be sort of, you know, I wouldn't be like sitting on the internet waiting for it to happen. I mean, don't get me wrong,
you're doing that anyways, Ped.
Yeah, to be honest, I pretty much do that all the time. But don't get me wrong, he's the kind of signing we need to take this team forward. We really do need like a top player now to move this team forward. So, but you know, we'll see how it goes.
We will.
All the players are there, and it's just a case of Martinez putting them all in the right order and getting some good results. Starting to pick up the right results.
All right, man. Well,
We did it. We've done another podcast.
Thanks for taking some time and clearing your busy schedule from
You
all
say
your
that like it's me who's
I gotta keep up appearances, Ped.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, right. No, it's good. 2 weeks in a row. Maybe we'll make it 3 weeks in a row next week. Everybody, you'll just have to wait and find out. See if Eric can carve out some free time to talk to Ped about Everton on the internets. Here's to
close down.
doing the double on Chelsea. Come on, you Blues, let's go.